Paul and Rob, last year you were in the comedy variety Crash Test on a Bus.
Yeah.
This year you have done Drive Share, a comedy sketch series in cars. We can't keep you away from vehicular comedy.
No, we are trying to carve out a very solid niche of being the only vehicular comedians out there.
Yeah, I mean, really, when you think about it, no one else does this. You know, people don't think, oh, what else could I do comedy on? You know, like we're always thinking, you know, is there like a blimp we could get access to, or some sort of boat?
Yeah, right now, just so you put it in context, we are on an aircraft carrier.
That's right.
And that's just for interviews. Like we'll be only in moving vehicles at any given point.
This is a very expensive boat that we rented, the U.S.S. Donald Trump, and
we're off the shore of North Korea.
we're on a secret mission.
Oh, fantastic. And he probably has no idea where it is.
No, we went the wrong way for weeks. We were going the wrong way, and then they said, no, you got to go the other way, so we looped back around.
But we will be very honest and say there's a bunch of submarines here, a bunch of secret submarines hanging out.
There's a bunch of secret submarines. They got a bunch of secrets, secret intelligence missiles. We're going to be firing our secret. They launch. We'll tell you when we're gonna launch. We're not supposed to, I don't think, but we're gonna
keep it.
We're gonna make a thing about it.
And they're the greatest secret submarines.
The most secret submarines.
They're actually the submarines from that failed show DSV. Remember that? It was like a
Deep sea. Yeah.
Where there was the talking dolphin. Yeah, that's the exact same subs we got. Star Trek for the ocean. That's what we got.
Fantastic. But Drive Share is not just a vehicular-based comedy. It's an app-based comedy, which is also something quite different. It's comedy based around an app.
Yeah, like I think Rob and I, what we thought was so funny is everybody has a funny Uber or Lyft or whatever ride share service you use experience, whether you're sharing it with somebody else or you have a driver. And we just thought that was a great way to kind of do a sketch comedy show in a very confined space.
Yeah, we both had when you talk to people, just the more we talk to people, everyone always had like some sort of fucked up, weird, horrible story where the driver was really weird, or they shared a ride with someone who was also terrible. And so that just got us thinking about, well, what if we just got funny comedians and we put them in the back of a car and just wrote funny bits for them to do. And so it kind of just became this endless pool of ideas, and and technically it was a fun way to shoot a sketch comedy show. It was like kind of a challenge to like figure out, because it's really a sketch comedy show. It just happens in the back of a car.
Well, the cool thing too about this show, we're in the very competitive short form live action category. That's what we're competing, to kind of get into, and that's where everyone wants to go, and they're always trying to manipulate their stuff to get there. But we felt like what was kind of cool about this is we could actually make shows that were less than 10 minutes. Our episodes, it was kind of the perfect format to do something online that was a little bit different than a full half-hour show.
Yeah, not the classic like Steven Spielberg would shoot like a 3-hour movie, then try to figure out how to divide that up into like sort of 30 10-minute web videos.
Yeah, we made 30 episodes of like about 7 to 10 minutes each, and we did about 2 rides in every episode and just kind of cut back and forth between them. And it was a fun way to kind of not put that much weight on it either. We could do something where someone has dildos for fingers and be like, yeah, I saw that for 3 minutes. That was great. Like we didn't have to spend like a half an hour with the dildo-handed man. Although
I don't know if the dildo-handed man is our strongest. Of our comedy chops, but to your point, yeah, it was also interesting just as far as the guys that put this out. It's this platform called Go90, and that was interesting because we figure more and more people are everyone's watching stuff on their phones now, and whether they're watching it on a plane or on a going to work or on the subway or whatever. So.
Driving a submarine,
driving a top secret submarine. So that was kind of fun too, to make a show knowing where it was going.
You could almost watch it in the back of a seat of an Uber while you're going to your location. You know, it's like blowing your mind.
Yeah.
But you know, the one thing too I feel about this show, and I guess smarter people than us probably have figured this out, but I like the idea that it could almost go anywhere around the world, because obviously, like, you know, every country has their own system of ride shares, and obviously the personalities and stuff are very specific to that country. I always thought, similarly to like The Office, how it just kind of like took the premise of being in an office, this could actually kind of go international. I'd love to kind of see how other people's cultures would affect this.
So we're moving to, I'm moving to China,
and I am moving to North Korea. Like, again, that's why we're so close to it right now. We're having a few difficulties getting the web series in North Korea going. We're a lot of paperwork to get through.
Yeah,
most of it is just people talking about how good the leadership is and how great everybody is. There's no problems.
Yeah, like other comedians have struggled to break through in North Korea.
Yeah, Dennis Rodman did some great comedy over there, but other than Dennis, it's been difficult.
Please let the title of this Deadline article be Rob and Paul's ambitions to break into North Korean comedy.
Well, I will try. I'll put that through there.
Rob and Paul Scheer, North Korea's newest comedians.
Yeah. Also, we're Gold Derby, not Deadline. Just.
Oh, sorry. Oh,
no,
I'm so sorry. Gold Derby.
That's fine. What about
I get that at Gold Derby.
Yeah, well, we'll leave it in. So, what about is there any? You said that like everyone has a nightmare Uber story or nightmare drive share story. What do either of you two have a nightmare story from an ride sharing app?
Yeah, for sure. I mean,
how does camera work?
Thank you for my close up. Well, I've just heard, you know, people tell you crazy stories. Like sometimes drivers like tell you really insane things. Like I had this driver one time that was a pretty old man, and he started, and I didn't even ask him to tell me this story, but he started telling me about how he got carjacked. Like somebody came up and knocked on his window, and he was by himself. He was like eating a sandwich, and so he rolled down the window, and the guy like jumped in came in the window to like steal his wallet or something like that. And so he just, this is a very old man, just grabbed the guy, put him in a headlock, and just started punching him like this, and then drove and was like dragging the guy. And so he's just telling me this story. It's like a Liam Neeson type story. I was like, it was the most incredible like story about this guy fighting off this bad guy, and I didn't know what to say after that. I was just like, well, I didn't ask you for that story, but that was incredible.
You know, and for me, I'm kind of fascinated by the way that people decorate their cabs. It's kind of, or their ride shares. It's like part of their personality. And I once got into a car where a guy had a full DJ setup in there, and he was DJing and driving. And we were a little nervous because he was scratching and literally making a turn at the same time, and was getting frustrated with us because we weren't being specific enough with the music that we wanted to hear. And we're like, just drive. Just drive. I don't need you to be switching records here during this ride.
Oh man. And Paul said before, Rob, that he cited the man with dildos for hands. You didn't think that was the best example of your comedy. Which passenger do you think was the best example of your comedy?
Well, first of all, no offense to our friend Ken Marino. I just met, you know, look, I'm a big fan of dildos and dildo comedy. But, you know, for someone that's watching this who doesn't know what we're talking about, I don't know if that is the most accessible.
Yeah, we are only 25% dildo comedy in this. You know, so it's only 1 out of every 4.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, we shot like about 100 different rides, and it's all kinds of stuff, different scenarios, like, you know, a woman going into labor in the back of a car,
a ghost.
Yep, a really, you know, awkward makeouts with people, you know, like when the driver wants two people in the back to make out so he can like watch them make out.
A marathon runner who's like cheating on a race.
Yeah, a guy that uses the ride sharing app to spy on his old girlfriend, like to go stalk her and like stake out her house.
I think the fun thing about doing 100 of these is that we could kind of explore every type of comedy, and I think that was the benefit of doing 30 episodes in our first season. It was like, oh, if you don't like this one, then there's another one tomorrow that will be a little bit different. We just wanted to make sure that we didn't feel confined and make them all very small. We wanted to make, you know, have some that are kind of big, giant characters, some that are like very funny just because of the awkward interactions, some where the drivers are funny, some where the passengers are funny. It was a challenge in a way to come up with 100 sketches that didn't feel like we were there. You know, we're only in one location. So how do we kind of continue to make that interesting?
And you had some very special episodes too, like you had the Mad Max episode and the Clue episode, and they're quite fun. And those ones are quite like unique in the sense that those ones have both of you together in the car.
Yeah.
Like a lot of episodes don't have either of you or just have one of you, and you don't get to bounce off each other as much as we've seen in other projects you guys have done together. Yeah,
Rob and I, you know, we created this show and we directed the show. And we were behind the scenes a lot on the show, you know, off camera, kind of helping the scenes along. So I think because we were so focused on that, we forgot to kind of get in the car. So I think we're probably only in 4 out of the 100 rides.
I mean, like, I think when we started writing it, we just started thinking about comedy friends of ours that we could plug into the show, you know, like Jason Mantzoukas or Andy Daly or Natasha Leggero.
You know, and for us too, it was about creating the most diverse cast, old, young, you know, male, female. I think, you know, it was, you know, we brought in some people who were have like more of a YouTube personality, some people who are straight actors, some people who are sketch comedians, up and coming improvisers. We really tried to keep the cast diverse because we cast, I think, over 200 people.
Yeah.
And we wanted to make sure that it felt indicative of a big world and not just like, you know, just a bunch of white dudes like in a cab, you know, that you've, you know, seen before. So we wanted to kind of make that fun.
And also just like kind of the heavy hitters of comedy. Like I feel like if you go and you check out the show, every single sketch, you're going to recognize someone from the comedy world, you know?
And one of the best parts of getting like people like Adam Pally or
Randall
Park is that we were only asking for them to do it. Like we shot every one of them probably in about 20 minutes, you know, so people would just get in, they'd shoot their bit, and then they would go. And then they left Rob and I with about 20 minutes to cut down to about 3, which is always really fun. But we got great stuff, and it was a real collaborative process because we worked this system where we would write out a sketch and we had beats and jokes. And then when people got into the car, it just kind of took on a life of its own, you know, and that was really fun to kind of see like, well, what's the funniest part? And so, things that ended up in the episodes were sometimes exactly as we wrote it, and then other times completely different.
It is sort of nice because, as you say, every episode you have sort of someone that you recognize, a Scott Aukerman, a Randall Park, a Claudio Doherty, but there's also in most episodes someone that you don't recognize as well. And there's someone new that like I'm discovering.
Yeah. I mean, like we're very lucky because here in LA we do a lot of stuff at Upright Citizens Brigade, and so we kind of know like kind of the next wave of comedy people that are coming up. So, you know, we can kind of hopefully get some more established people to be to do some of the heavy lifting, and then we'll get kind of these up and comers to come in and improvise and just raise the bar, you know, and just kind of to help fill out the cast too.
And you know, it's kind of challenging. I think Rob and I both know that, you know, when you're on shows, there's always like a limited amount of roles. So when we had 100 roles to cast, it, you know, once we kind of went through our normal, you know, Rolodex of people that we want to use, it forced us to be like, well, let's meet new people, let's see new people. And we really like tried very hard to surprise ourselves to a certain extent too. There are certain people that we got recommendations from our friends. We're like, oh, that's great. Let's put her in here, and she would kill it, you know. And so that was really fun to kind of, we were kind of discovering them as well.
What I'm also glad because you weren't in many of the scenes together to hear that wasn't a you know, like sometimes in shows when you see actors not in these scenes together, there's some sort of behind the scenes drama or anything like that. It's good to hear.
We were fighting. Yeah, we were fighting.
So much fighting.
Yeah,
it was like the Good Wife over here. You know,
it's
really.
a lot like, that's a great analogy.
Yeah.
It's a lot like the Good Wife.
Yeah,
I mean, you know, I think it was really fun because behind the camera for Rob and I, it was just as active as it was in front of the camera, meaning that like we were kind of improvising. Oh, what about this? And what about this? So it was kind of in a way the most fun that I've ever had as director, because it's like we were really workshopping things together, you know?
Yeah, we set it up in a way where once the people are in the car, we could communicate directly with them. So, you know, they would have all of their dialogue and stuff, but then we could be right there pitching them tons of jokes. So we would just sit there and just like throw them a lot of jokes. And then when we go to edit it, we just pick and choose the very best jokes, you know?
Yeah.
What do you think? What do you enjoy most about working with each other? Assuming that you do.
Oh boy, I like the snacks.
So many good snacks.
Whenever we work together, we make it a point to really get the best snacks.
We kind of spend an obscene amount of money on the craft service table, and people will say like, "Well, why shouldn't you put that on the screen?" And we say, "No, we should put that in our belly."
That's right.
Because you know we're really nasty people normally, and so if we're not satiated, we'll just lash out.
Oh yeah, I mean, you know, we've been really lucky that we've worked together for a long time, going all the way back to Human Giant, and so we sort of have a shorthand with each other where it just makes it efficient and fast. And are you hearing this construction?
There's construction going on.
Pretty cool construction, but it just makes fun. You know, you always want to work with your friends because it's more fun. And then because we know each other well, and we know each other's sensibilities well, it just makes it fast and efficient, you know, from a purely production standpoint.
And I think, you know, there's a thing with Rob and I where our sensibility is the same, but at the same time, different things make us laugh. So, you know, I think we both bring a twist to each other's ideas that neither of us would bring if we weren't there, which is kind of a fun thing to do because it's like automatically like, oh, that's really funny. I would never have thought of that. So I think we complement each other.
Like for example, you know, I'll say, well, what if a guy had like one finger that was a dildo? And Paul said, what if it was 5 fingers?
The whole hand.
The whole hand is a dildo. And I said, great, classic comedy joke.
And, you know, and so right now we're in talks with Hulu and Netflix to expand out the Dildo Hands guy into a 12-episode, hour-long drama about the pain of having dildo fingers. It's kind of like...
Actually, didn't tell you this, that I just heard back from PBS, and PBS wants to do it.
This is great news. And
but they want to do it as a drama.
No, that's what I was saying. Yeah, we sold it as a drama. And I guess we can say, because it is Gold Derby, and you guys break scoops here, Daniel Day-Lewis is interested in playing the Dildo Man. So... That's going to be big. It's the first time he's doing TV.
I mean, what will his life be like, you know, dramatically, when he goes to pick up, you know, like a sandwich and he can't because his fingers are dildos.
You know, everything that Rob and I do has a social commentary to it. So whether it's the Dildo Man or the Ghost Hunters, we are saying a very big statement about society and technology. You just got to figure it out yourself.
You really got to figure it out yourself.
Do you have a title for this project?
Well, right now the working title is The Dildo-Handed Man. You know,
I'm not sure we got to figure it out because, like, you know, when you use your television and you push guide on your thing and it comes up, I just don't know if like The Dildo-Handed Man with Daniel Day. How about Daniel Day-Lewis presents?
I was just going to go with an asterisk or an A as the first thing because that always pops up first.
Oh,
so I was going to be like,
it's alphabetical.
Yeah, A, Alex, Animal, and Dildo-Handed Man. So we're just getting all the A's. So we're going to be the first thing that you.
That's a great idea.
Yeah, we got to get all the A's up there.
You know that trick, right? Anytime you know, for like, you know, when you go into a hotel, especially, or like pay-per-view, you always want to have an A. Or a number too. That's another right? Yeah. So like, you know, A number 1 dildo hands, you know, because then it pops up first on the guide.
What about
that's a tip.
What about like 10 dildos, 1 man?
Great idea.
Whoa, that's a great idea, and we're taking it because you just gave it to us.
Yeah.
PBS, you're welcome.
Yeah.
What was it again?
Dildos in there.
10 note to self, 10 dildos, one man. Steal the idea that we just heard on the Google Hangout.
Okay, great. And if Daniel Day-Lewis falls through, you can get Johnny Depp in, because he's quite good with he's had a lot of
obviously your hands, but we're trying to step up the game a little bit. We may go with that guy who's in Dunkirk right now. He's a brilliant Broadway actor. He was in Henry VIII on PBS. I'm just forgetting his name. Ready Player One. He's a great British actor. We're gonna get him.
We're definitely gonna get a British actor.
Yeah, that's the only person.
We're only interested in British actors from now on.
Yeah, even Rob and I are gonna go there and affect accents like Madonna from here on in.
Yeah, no offense to you. I mean, clearly you're not British. You're Australian, I guess. But so we're not gonna cast you in something. Nice try, but it's not gonna happen.
Okay, fair enough. What about what is there going to be a second season of Drive Share?
We might. We're both working on a lot of crazy stuff right now, and we both just had babies.
Yes.
So we're in a crazy personal space right now where we're juggling babies, and we're here in Paul's garage, and we're dealing with stuff like this everywhere, and
we got this.
We got this. Again, and we're not even plugging. we didn't even plan this, but there are a lot of toys.
Yeah, a lot of Paw Patrol in here. A lot.
So that's what's going on in our lives right now.
But we have talked about like a second season, maybe bringing it to a different location. We obviously shot this in LA, and not that these rides were specific to LA, but the comedians were. And I think we talked about maybe doing the second season in New York and just kind of rating that talent pool, because it was. Again, casting that many actors, we want to make sure that the show continues to feel fresh, and I think it brings a different sensibility too.
Yeah,
and you got a UCB theater in New York as well, so that's it makes sense. Do you guys still perform with the UCB?
Yeah, every Wednesday night we do a show at UCB called Facebook, where we take people's Facebook profiles and we improvise scenes, and Rob and I do a show based on that comedy special that you saw, Crash Test, that we kind of put up intermittently every now and then.
Oh, nice. That's cool. What does continuing to do long form improv do to help you as performers when you do a show like Drive Share or your movie roles or the other things that you're doing?
It's just writing. It's the same thing as writing. It's just writing on your feet, and there's some sort of weird muscle in your brain that has to be continuously exercised. I think I don't know what that muscle is, but I think being able to improvise, especially in long form, and make connections and and come up with new ideas and new jokes all the time, it just makes it just always keeps that little corner of your brain sharp and keeps that corner of your brain firing, which helps you in the writing process, and in performing too. And
and I'll say one of the tenets of UCB very early on, I was coming from a short form background when I joined up with them. And short form was kind of like anything for a joke. And I think with long form improv, there's a belief in keeping it grounded, no matter how absurd the reality is, just grounding it in some truth. And so I think that that's something that, is helpful in film roles and in TV roles, and you can say crazy stuff, but if you can find a footing that makes your character in some way believable in this world, even the man with the dildo hands, not that it's so funny we keep on referencing that, but but I think there is that's something that we always are looking for. It's not just like a wig and a funny costume and a limp. We're trying to at least ground something and make it, even though it's absurd, make it grounded.
Yeah. Well, thanks so much for chatting with us today, guys. All the best with the Emmys in the short form.
Thank you to Gold Derby, and
what are you gonna wear to the Emmys? Are you gonna go tux, or are you gonna go
topless?
We'll see. Last night I was there. I wasn't at the Emmys last year. I was there the year before. I just wore a suit and tie. I went with a blue tie rather than a black one.
Nice.
I'm going no shirt and suspenders.
Let's just go. I'm going in a full gown.
Oh,
I'm going in a gown and
like a half gown, like a cropped gown.
Yeah, so naked from the stomach down.
Yeah.
Let's go around real quick. You tell us the 2 shows that you think should get nominated for something this year. Matt, go.
Oh, boy, Veep's my favorite comedy, but it like has won the last 2 years, so it's not like that's not really a. I'd love Brooklyn Nine-Nine to get nominated. I think that's a. Yeah, I think that's a great, like, just funny show that has underperformed at the Emmys. And
have the best ensemble cast, I think, on TV. I mean, or one of the best, because Veep is great too, as far as that cast. You know, all right. So Brooklyn Nine-Nine. Rob, what do you say?
Well, obviously Transparent. I mean, you know, I'm biased because I'm on the show, but you know,
really,
you know,
wow.
We'll,
big surprise if Transparent gets nominated. Critical darling over here.
The other question I have for you is, and you know, you can delete this. You don't have to put this out there. But who's the biggest asshole you've interviewed? You know, not counting me or Paul, but
Neil deGrasse Tyson.
Neil deGrasse Tyson?
I've never interviewed him.
Did you say Neil deGrasse Tyson? Or who? I'll give you an easy out. Who have you not gotten on that you want to get on?
Gold Derby?
I'm a big Stephen Colbert fan. I think. Yeah.
Robin,
we just did the show.
We just did the show, so we'll put in a good word for you. Yeah.
Paul did the show at the beginning of the month, and I just did the show last week.
Yeah. Is him? He'd be great to chat to.
And you both love Veep. He was a huge fan of Veep. You're a huge fan of Veep. It all works out. It's gonna be great. We're gonna do this for you.
We're gonna hook you up
and get you nominated for once.
We're gonna get you nominated.
We'll try to get this in the short format category. Yeah, but no, like it's thanks for chatting, guys, and I'm gonna try to get to next time in LA or UCB show.
Hook you up with whatever. It'd be great.
Yeah, no, that'll be really good because I do try to get to UCB.
We're not going to give you free tickets or anything like that.
You gotta pay.
You still got to wait in line and pay.
Yeah, I'll pay the $10, the $12.
It's $8. Oh, we have it sold out. $8.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna say $5, and then I thought, no, I don't want to say you've got one of the cheapest shows at the